Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Happy, Monday. Awesome weekend to you. I hope you had a good weekend as well. We're taking a look here at Solana, seeing what's going on. There's a chance we might see it pull back here, but it's looking pretty strong. But there is, again, a fair value gap here. But congrats mainly to those who took along based on my analysis from Saturday. That was really awesome little breakout. Hindsight's 2020. I wish I'd got in, but we missed our opportunity there. But generally speaking, best thing to do now at this point is to consider either A, securing profits, or B, understanding where key levels are so you can either add to your position, depending on if that's your thing or not, or possibly even sell if you're just super worried about this coin being overextended. It is holding fairly strong, but Bitcoin is kind of pulling back to that low 91K range, so there's that as well. Let's take a look at the backend data first and kind of work our way down. And if you are new to the channel, I just ask you hit the like button. If you've been watching for a while, you've been liking the videos for a while, and I really appreciate that too. So it doesn't take you any effort. Just click on the link down below. Appreciate that. And what we're going to do is look at, of course, Solana backend liquidation data. And just recognize a few things here. First of all, there's a Black Friday sale for High Block Capital coming up here. If you're curious about that, links down below. Use my link to register. You get an additional month free if I'm not mistaken. But if we take a look here at Solana, we can recognize 7 days of liquidation here. There's not a ton of liquidation when we zoom out like this, okay? The best thing to do is kind of identify smaller time frames and look at the last 12 hours. This will really tell us what's going on. And if we do take a look at this here, we can see that there's 238 level is highly contested. So there's a lot of liquidation there. So some folks are probably in pretty high leverage longs. They're about to get swept. But you got to keep in mind too, that's a tentative support is working its way into a support level. We've tested that level twice so far and bounced. Just know we're working our way down in a small descending trend line if you look at the very smaller time frames here, and just recognize we could very well see that level tested. So we'll look at the charts here in a minute, of course, to kind of see, but liquidation standpoint, we got liquidation all the way as low as 234 to 238. A little bit of a range there. We take a look here, of course, liquidation long delta is, of course, high. This is one of the only coins that actually just showing this right now. Basically just implies there's a lot of money flowing into this coin. More importantly, people feel confident and comfortable in taking long positions with this coin. So awesome stuff there that kind of shows sustainability there. If we do take a look here, of course, we can see the heaviest concentration of liquidation is about 238. Sorry, I misspoke. The heaviest concentration of open interest, that's where people are hedged the most. People have the most positions open in this range at 238. So that reinforces 238 as a support, which is exactly why we see that liquidation level at 238 too. So just know a lot of times market makers, they'll wick down to like 238, 236, maybe in that range there, and then kick the price back up depending on how Bitcoin behaves. And that's generally a very standard procedure. So if you want to have like kind of an aggressive limit order that may not get filled, somewhere the 238 to 236 would make sense depending on, again, how Bitcoin continues to perform. But if we look at Bitcoin here, it is doing pretty well in the overall sense. It's starting to build a pretty massive amount of support at the 90 to 91.5 range. And we can see Bitcoin trying to hold this upper level here. But the reason I'm showing that to you is because the price action for Bitcoin is very choppy. Okay? Solana, on the other hand, pretty consistent in the overall sense. While Bitcoin pulls back and Solana does too, it's not super aggressive like most coins right now. So I like to see that. That shows sustainability and more propensity for the price to go higher. In fact, we're working ourselves into a nice little channel here too, which kind of implies we're probably likely to see a further continuation higher, right? This is more of a bullish type of continuation pattern. So I really like what I'm seeing here so far. Okay, so let's take a look at the daily time frame, work our way down, kind of see what's going on here, and we'll double check a few key factors. So daily time frame, first thing to note is that we're above all moving averages. Everything's looking pretty solid here, and we are definitely on our fourth leg up here, or sorry, our fifth wave up. You could essentially just say that this 0.236 fib level was that lowest point for the pullback. So we're kind of in this, I wouldn't say price discovery phase, we're not quite there yet, but we are definitely considering a lot of potential for further upside. If we take a look here, just to clarify, if you are not familiar, the highest point for Solana was I'm rounding up saying 260. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up here just so we can kind of get perspective and keep that on there. Because if you're going to consider taking profit, usually right below that level is a good consideration. Okay, a lot of times when you take a long, you're going to want to take a long and secure profits before you hit an all-time high. Okay, so just know that that's present, that exists, and that is above the price action, but not too much higher, right? So while it's okay, and the likelihood of the price going past that level at some point is greater, you'll usually see an initial rejection at that level. Okay, so just to understand that's where we're at there on that. If we look at the daily time frame though, there's nothing here that's bearish whatsoever. 4-hour time frame, I'm confident it's probably going to exude the same behavior. If we take a look here, we're above all moving averages. We can recognize the price action is in really good shape here. And while we do have a fair value gap as low as the local high, they're at about 221, 222. Outside of that, there's nothing here really telling us that we're in bad shape. The thing you do want to recognize though is that we are coming back down from 70 in the RSI. Usually that's somewhat of a sell signal. In other words, if you are in a long from 220, 215 to 240, I don't see a problem in securing profits, right? Especially with Bitcoin pulling back a little bit, just the way things are working. It's better to be safe than sorry. I'm always going to recommend that for you because most people get super greedy with high leverage and inevitably get stopped out. So just some friendly advice. Make sure you secure profits when you can. That's not a bad little profit margin. However, with the RSI pulling back, our money flow index tapering off, stochastic swinging down, this kind of lets us know that there's a shift in momentum occurring. It's not like it's monumental. I don't think the price is going to drop out, but just know that this fair value gap does exist, and it's really common for prices to retest their most recent high as a new low at some point. So hypothetically, we do one of these. 225 will be a solid consideration for entry, right? 225 to 220. Anyways, I don't know if we're going to be there or get there someday, but if we do, just know that it's a good consideration for a long at that level. I never recommend a long on the blind, of course. I'm always referring to spot bags when I say limit orders, by the way. You don't just do like a 50x leverage long at 225, in the blind like right now. Even if it were to happen, it'd be awesome. Don't get me wrong. There's no guarantee it's going to stop there because the conditions could be so much different by the time we get there. So please understand that. It's like kind of just closing your eyes and throwing darts, right? Do you really want to try to hit your target that way? No. Open your eyes, you big dummy. Anyways, take a look here at Ichimoku Cloud. We can recognize we got a couple of signs here letting us know it's slowing down, but still got good momentum. We're above the cloud, lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines over the baseline is a good sign here. However, if we don't leg up in the next 6 to 12 hours, it may be cause for a consideration to consider securing profits. And again, this is strictly a pattern here. This is not a guarantee, but a lot of times when you have patterns like this, they have a tendency of, working themselves out some ways, right? So we could very well see, an ABC pattern to the downside, a lower high and a lower low essentially to follow, right? So it could look something like this here. Again, very premature, just throwing it out there, but pending we don't continue much higher here soon, that could end up becoming an inevitability just to fill that fair value. All right, but either way you look at it here, we got 9 out of 10 reasons to not short this coin. And I would say like 2 or 3 out of 10 reasons to take along. And I'm only saying that hesitantly because there's not like a lot of meat left on the bone here, right? Maybe best to wait for Bitcoin to do its thing. However, I do personally feel Bitcoin's going to make an all-time high this week, just based on the way that it's shaping up here, higher highs, higher lows. It's a very, very choppy chart. I do not like the Bitcoin chart whatsoever. I was very clear about that earlier when I covered it. But the truth is, it's mostly bullish. It consistently is establishing, positive trends, and Solana's following suit is just, albeit a little bit more overextended. Keep in mind, if you do take a long between now and the all-time high, consider securing profits sometime between now and then. I usually recommend like a 4% move, so 250 would be a good solid consideration for a first target, and then a second, maybe tertiary target somewhere in the 259, 258 range, just below that all-time high. Okay, so that's just some friendly advice there for you. Hopefully that fits you well, and what else should fit you well too. Congratulations to our community members here for this. This is phenomenal. We got a lot of volume flowing in and some pretty big rewards for the top 20 traders. So if you use my link to register, you're automatically eligible here, but there's a $60,000 prize pool for Bitunix this month. Awesome stuff. They are fantastic. No KYC VPN. Use them. A link down below so you can be eligible for that. Otherwise, you look at it. I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much for liking the videos, and we'll look forward to seeing the next one. And thanks again to all my Solana followers, community, whatever the case is. You're awesome. You're probably one of the best, most supportive groups. So appreciate you. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.